Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrek. Big shout out to all the iTrek fan, man, that is just tapped in and that is currently in the building. Huge shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Huge shout out to all the members. I appreciate you guys. As you already know, if you've been here for a while, what we like to do is catch up all the brand new fam that have just tapped in, that have just subscribed. So we got a brand new episode on the front end and a classic on the back to catch everybody up. And there's definitely a lot of interesting stuff going on, so you definitely got to tap in. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button and join the iTrek fam. Smash the hype button if you haven't done that already. And let's just jump straight into it.
Let's look at some crazy things happening in the world right now. Meta is going crazy and offering tons of money to top AI people and offered someone $1.25 billion for one person. I think that's about what LeBron has earned in his entire career, if that, from a salary. And he said no. You said no to $1 billion just to have a job somewhere. New York City had 0 murders on July 4th for the first time in history until the next day it was determined that a man was shot and killed 15 minutes before midnight. About 95% of all spiders in our homes either were born in our homes or adapted to life in our homes, and if you take the spider outside, they will likely not survive. That's kind of sad, but also just don't show yourself in my house and you'll be safe. This is a picture of George Bush with Harambe's mother in 1998 before Harambe was born. Why? How? I didn't know Harambe was this connected to the happenings of the elite. Astronauts aboard the ISS do not wash or dry their clothes. They literally just wear them until they're too dirty or stinky, then dispose them by dropping them into the atmosphere to burn up during re-entry.
Dang, New York, you guys couldn't even make it a whole day. That's how you know you got it bad.
You hypnotized Jake Paul to knock out Nate Robinson.
Yeah. So that's a symptom of what I hypnotized him for. What I really hypnotized him for was to think way bigger. So Jake Paul I saw a podcast between Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and I was working with Logan Paul at the time, and he was depressed, saying he hates what he's doing, he hates YouTube, and I texted Logan. I said, hey, I really think I'm confident I can help your brother. So Jake texted me, gave him my number, texted me, and I started working with him. And the main thing we worked on was, hey, you're no longer a YouTuber, you're all in on boxing. Like, you're going to be the biggest boxer in the world, you're going to be the greatest boxer in the world, and you're going to be number one, you're going to be the best. And he started doing that. And if you look at him now, he's on the way, and he's way closer now than he was in 2020. And if you look at how far he's come and how fast he's come, it's pretty ridiculous. I think the first, just thinking bigger, like truly being able to not say, hey, I'm going to be a big YouTube boxer and fight YouTubers like KSI, but like I'm going to be a real professional boxer and be one of the best in the world. I think that would be the biggest thing that resonated with me.
I'm pretty sure in the future, hiring a hypnotist is going to be just like hiring a therapist. Literally self-development, but like on steroids.
I heard of a study that if you place a rat in water, it will drown in 15 minutes. But if you save it once, it will keep waiting for 60 hours.
Alright guys, she's actually telling the truth. So what she's referring to is actually the faith effect. See, normally animals in danger will fight till they're too exhausted. But if first given hope like the rats were, they will actually push beyond their natural limits just to stay alive. So really what this teaches us is people with hope are capable of nearly anything.
Okay, if this video is legit, we are cooked. Seriously. So a man in Panama claims that he found a freshly fallen meteorite recently. At first, it looked just like a rock from space, so he collected it and he kept it. And then he started doing experiments with it and noticed some very strange things about it. For example, he put a leaf on it and it wilts the leaf and then basically burns the leaf, like burns through it, which is strange. And over time, he noticed some even stranger things occurring. For example, the spot in the dirt where it landed actually glows at night. I don't know if it's like radioactive material or what, but then something even more bizarre and frankly, I'd say concerning started happening. It started growing something. So here's the debate. Is this just local fungi or spores from the ground, or could it actually be an extraterrestrial microbe that hitchhiked across the cosmos? I mean, normally anything living would burn up when a meteorite blasts through Earth's atmosphere, but not everything is fragile. We've actually found bacteria here on Earth that survive in the most extreme places, like microbes that thrive in underwater volcanic vents that are hotter than boiling water. So, I mean, could life from out there be hardy enough to survive a fiery crash through our skies? Maybe. Allegedly, this guy is taking the meteorite to a university in Panama for testing, but whatever the growth is, it is like nightmarish looking. I mean, what do you think? Is this a potential microbe that survived through the atmosphere? Or is it something local that got on it, like a spore on the ground? Or is it a hoax? I don't know. But whatever this is bizarre if it is real. If there are any experts out there, please chime in. Let me know your thoughts on this.
Hey, just keep it in its case. That's all you really got to do is just keep it in its case and then study it that way. I don't think anything of that magnitude needs to just be out in the wind at all.
There is some real sci-fi Spider-Man and Venom shit going on in Panama right now. So a meteorite falls out the sky in Panama. This guy sees something fall out the sky, goes outside to investigate the area where he's seen it fall. He finds a silver rock. So what does he do? He takes it in the house. And let me just say this to you. What I'm about to tell you right now, you are not going to believe. So I'm just going to have to show you. After cooling this rock off because it was burning hot, he put this rock on a plate. Put a glass over the rock. And when he does that, something started growing out the rock. Oh, you don't believe me, right? Look at this shit. Look at this shit right here. Mind you, the video is in Spanish. If you can translate, translate. And this is what that turned into. That's coming out the rock. That's coming out the rock. That's coming out the rock. Yeah, okay. Y'all just seen that? Mind you, that's not even the finished product. Go to his page. You'll be able to find it. Trust me, you will be able to find it. And look at the finished product. Look at what that shit really turned into. Now, and I want to say, TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. This is for entertainment purposes only. Go check that page out. This shit crazy. I'm out.
Well, it's official. It seems like Venom, the alien symbiote from the Spider-Man series, has landed on Earth. I think like a month ago, I did a video just kind of halfway joking about Venom being on Earth using an incog video. But a meteorite fell in, I think it was Portugal, something, Panama. And you're going to be seeing more of these videos, but check this video out. All right, so this landed in his backyard, and it looks like a rock. Okay, you've probably already seen this video. I'm doing some basic commentary because I am amazed at this. Okay, it's right there. Right there. He's washing it off. It's a rock. It's a hard rock. I don't think somebody faked this.
El meteorito ha cambiado de color y me di cuenta que destruye todo lo que es planta. No se puede acercar a una planta porque...
Here in a second, he's about to put a leaf on it. And it burns through the leaf. And this is after he like washed it off with water and tried to cool it down. It starts burning through the leaf. That's weird, right? Very alien, very strange. I wanted to show this whole video in its entirety.
Aquí en el lugar donde cayó el meteorito hace varios días. Cuando yo apago la luz, mire cómo se ve. Es algo totalmente increíble. Si algo me preocupa, es que algún día se desprenda de la roca.
It hatched and it's growing. It doesn't need air. It doesn't need food. It just grows when it's in sunlight.
Pues no lo dejo tomar mucha luz. Cuando toma luz solar, crece. Por eso que lo mantengo en la
Anyone who knows what he's saying, just comment in the comment
section. Esto no respira. Esto no toma agua. Solamente lo que recibe de energía es como de la luz. Ha crecido bastante.
Do you see this?
Ha cambiado de color. Ya ha crecido bastante.
Are you kidding me,
bro?
bro?
A pesar que no lo se acabó el sol, ya ha crecido bastante y puedo sacar pedazos y se lo puedo enviar.
If you don't know what Venom is an alien symbiote.
No puedo dormir.
This
no
like
puedo
just
dormir,
happened.
Pero no me siento tampoco incagotado.
There's the rock right there.
Lo que quiero es que se mueva bastante. Es que a veces cuando se mueve bastante.
And watch this next video that he just posted, which is it's a continuation of the previous video, but I don't think he faked this. I think a rock fell from a meteorite, fell from the sky, and it's growing on its own. Is this alien life? I am so blown away by this. For real, Venom is here.
Hey, he's mighty comfortable with having that lid off, like mighty comfortable.
This is not human, because there were no humans in this area of Europe 43,000 years ago. If that's the case, this art was created by Neanderthals, a completely different species. Just think about that. Neanderthals were pretty much as capable mentally as we are. So if they'd been given enough time, given the pressures that we humans felt, then there's no reason why they couldn't have developed a civilization. They didn't have time. Instead, they disappeared. They became extinct, leaving perhaps these signs of the beginnings of their culture on the roof of the cave.
Moon landing, a lot of people are like, oh, it's fake.
So you have to fake not only all the imagery in the 1960s, but you'd have to fake the millions of pages of engineering diagrams for the Saturn V rocket, the warehouses in which they were stored. But here's the best that I heard about this. The government goes to Neil Armstrong and said, Neil, we don't know how to get you to the moon, but we have to pretend we did. So the Russians think that we can do this. So what are you going to do? We're going to get some Hollywood people and we're going to stage it. And they check with Buzz Aldrin, and Buzz Aldrin agrees. So they try to set up the lunar landscape, and it's really hard. And Hollywood says, in order to fake it, what we'll do is we'll shoot it on location.
Morbid Facts, Part 704. In August of 2023, Lil Tay's Instagram suddenly announced that she and her brother had died, sparking worldwide shock online. But within a day, she appeared alive, calling the post a cruel hack. Meta confirmed her account had been compromised, but suspicions lingered. Tay publicly accused her estranged father of planting the hoax, while others believe her brother staged it for attention. Then in 2024, she revealed that she'd been diagnosed with an actual life-threatening heart tumor and underwent successful open heart surgery, posting photos from her hospital bed. In 1978, 22-year-old art student Harold Brown fell 324 feet, nearly 30 stories, through the Transamerica Pyramid in San Francisco after crawling into a ventilation shaft. A guard who witnessed the fall swore he heard Brown yelling "whoopee" on the way down, as if enjoying the plunge. Against all odds, Brown survived the impact on the concrete base with both legs shattered, kneecaps destroyed, and a crushed heel bone, but no internal injuries. Minutes later, he regained consciousness and shocked rescuers by singing Camptown Races as they carried him out.
Foods that have antifreeze in them. Is that even legal? Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Now you know. You either gonna eat it, or you're not gonna eat it. Watch the video until the end. This is for educational purposes only. Share this video with someone you love, care, and respect, and comment below. You eating any of these right now?
After reading this comment, I definitely had to do some research, and I found out this one's actually true. Pop-Tarts and a long list of other foods and drinks use an additive called propylene glycol, which is also the active ingredient inside of engine coolants, various paints and varnishes and enamels. But according to the FDA, as long as you don't eat too much of it, it's okay. My question is, if you eat a lot of food that has it in it and you don't know that it's in it and you just keep eating it, it could add up pretty quickly, don't you think? Various ice creams within the Blue Bunny brand also have propylene glycol in their stuff. Alright, this one's actually sad too because I love Cold Stone. But they have 17 different varieties at all their locations that have propylene glycol in them. More shots fired with Dunkin' coming in with their flavored iced teas having propylene glycol. But don't worry, you can still get their regular iced teas that don't have it. I've seen a couple of you guys say that Fireball is also banned in certain countries because of the propylene glycol, aka antifreeze, but yep, another one on the list. Why, Betty? Like, seriously, we can't even have cake either? Yep, just another one, and Duncan Hines as well. This list is actually longer than my first videos, just about banned foods in other countries, so if you want to see more of this one, definitely let me.
Of course not, I'm not going to eat any more of these products that have antifreeze in them. I don't care how delicious these Pop-Tarts are, or even these cakes.
Do you think it's conceivable that in the next 50 to 100 years, the US could no longer be the dominant power globally?
Yeah. Yeah, more than conceivable.
More than conceivable. What do you mean by more than conceivable?
I mean that these evolutions always take place.
You guys remember the OnlyFans model who disappeared from a porta potty party in Dubai last March? For 10 days, she was missing. Her family was 100% sure she had been trafficked, and then she shows up on the side of the road, literally clinging to life. Unconscious, broken spine, broken arms, broken legs, broken collarbone, and scalped. She awoke from her coma and is telling her story, and it's beyond comprehension. Her name is Maria Kovalchuk. She's a 21-year-old Ukrainian OnlyFans model, and she nearly lost her life at the hands of extremely wealthy men. Okay, first of all, porta potty parties are real, not some urban myth. They are real and they are horrific. If you don't know what they are, it's a party held by these very, very wealthy men who are into humiliating, degrading, and abusing women. And they will pay these young, beautiful women sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars for one night of torture.
Now, we've always discussed how money just brings out your true personality. You know, whoever you truly are on the inside, enough money will amplify that and bring it right on out. So what does that say about the people who want to use people as porta potties and the people that are okay being used as porta potties? Marinate on that.
Tell me what this looks like to you. We might all be using witchcraft. Tell me what this black mirror reminds you of. Something you hold every day. Black mirror scrying involves using a dark reflective surface like a black mirror to induce visions or gain insight through prolonged gazing and meditation. What does that sound like? Does it remind you of this? Kind of reminds me of this, and also this.
Dude, that is a wild-looking creature.
Isn't it? It's unbelievable.
It was thought to be extinct?
It's a species that was last seen when the last one died in a zoo in the 80s.
Now, it was a beautiful-looking creature. Look at that thing.
Right?
It's such a wild green, yellow color. Are they similar to regular crocodiles or alligators in that they don't have to eat for like a year?
Caiman don't have as slow of metabolism as certain other species, but they're a member of the alligator family, so to speak, and they can go very long times without food.
What a crazy animal. Like, looks like a monster.
Yep.
I mean, look at it. The teeth on that thing. Swallows things basically whole. Just it spins to take chunks off of things. Swallows them whole. It doesn't have to eat for a year. Can go underwater for how long without holding its breath?
45 minutes, some of them. Yeah, some species. Yeah.
So you have no idea it's there.
Right.
It's just waiting for you.
Heart attacks may actually be infectious. It might not just be because of cholesterol or lifestyle, but they could be triggered by bacteria hiding in your arteries. Researchers in Finland and the UK found that hidden bacterial biofilms can sit inside artery plaques for decades. If a viral infection wakes them up, they spark inflammation, rupture the plaque, and then you have a heart attack. This could mean future vaccines against heart disease. Speaking of things we thought were safe, your morning coffee could be messing with antibiotics. Scientists discovered caffeine changes how bacteria let drugs in, making antibiotics like Cipro less effective. This doesn't mean that you need to ditch your morning Joe, but it's a reminder that food can sometimes shape how medications work. And finally, a large study found that Depo-Provera, an injectable contraceptive, is tied to a higher risk of a common brain tumor called meningioma, especially if used for years or after age 31. Doctors stress that the overall risk is still very low, but it's important information for women to discuss with their doctors when making birth control decisions. That's it for this week. See you next week.
Danny Masterson has just been smashed in prison. He was at Corcoran State Correctional Institution out there in California. He heard that there was a hit on him by the GBG. He wasn't coming out of his cell. He wasn't coming out to get breakfast, to get lunch. He wasn't eating because he knew that he had a hit on him from the GBG, and once the GBG put one out on him, all the other prison organizations wanted to follow suit. They wanted to be the ones to get the trophy, who is Danny Masterson, and be the first to get their hands on him. Well, somebody finally got their hands on him, and this is why he's now been moved to the California Men's Colony, which is a minimum to medium security prison yard, much easier than where he just came from. And a guy who has a life sentence like Danny Masterson and hasn't even done more than a few months in prison doesn't get moved to a very cozy yard like the California Men's Colony without something extreme happening. And that's exactly what happened. Two members of the BBC's, yes, The BBCs, I know what you're thinking. Get it out of your mind. You got dirty thoughts. It stands for the Brothers by Choice. That's what it stands for. 2 members of the BBC Brothers by Choice jumped on Danny while he was being escorted to the kitchen to get his food because he was too scared to come out of his cell to get his own food.
Now that clip is great to counter all the other clips on the internet that might try to glorify jail or prison, make it sound cool or a rite of passage. There's nothing cool about jail or prison, man. There's just nothing. Do you see what the man's going through? Nothing cool about it, man. Look at the clip.
Guys, Uber is about to be dropping the wildest update ever, and no, it is not cheaper rides, it's helicopters. In a couple years, you literally might be able to open the Uber app and book a chopper instead of a Toyota. So Uber isn't just stopping at cars anymore, they're teaming up with a company that's called Joby Aviation, and this is a company that just bought out Blade's helicopter and seaplane business for $125 million. And now they're planning on plugging this straight into the Uber app, meaning that you could literally order a helicopter to hit up Taco Bell. Imagine just for a second that you're stuck in traffic, it's raining, instead of waiting an hour to get somewhere, you tap the app and 5 minutes later, you're flying over everybody's heads. They're saying that Blade has already officially moved 50,000 passengers just last year alone, and the tickets from Manhattan to JFK usually run at about $195. So obviously it's not billionaire money, but it's definitely expensive dinner money. Guys, it's not even just helicopters. Uber is saying that seaplanes are on the table too, and then futuristic electric car taxis whenever they're certified. The only catch with this entire plan is that 2026 is the goal, and there's still a ton of caution. FAA approvals, noise regulations, and figuring out how to land helicopters in these cities where people complain about leaf blowers. Would you actually spend $200 to skip traffic and fly over the city, or does this sound like a disaster waiting to happen?
Hey, that might be a game changer. I mean, the people that are going to use it are going to be the people that value their time the most. I mean, if it can save you a lot of time to take a helicopter from point A to point B, might be worth it.
Get residuals for that?
Yeah. It's not a lot. It's not like I'm getting hundreds of that. You get like, here's $400 here and the decline of viewership.
I feel like that movie, people still watch it, bro. That shit's like iconic. Like Dumb and Dumber is one of the fucking one of the biggest movies
classic.
ever.
Yeah. I feel blessed that I got to even be in one movie.
Yeah.
And the fact that I think I've done almost 50 over my career.
Movies like that, when you're like a lead, you get bigger residuals?
Not necessarily, but you get a bigger paycheck at the beginning.
At the beginning, right.
I think what you're probably thinking is guys like Jim Carrey, they don't get a bigger residual, but if you're a bigger star, like Jim for the Riddler and Batman, I think he was able to work out a back-end deal where he got points for the movie, he got points for the merchandise, he got...
Yeah.
So it's not a residual, but it's a monetary stream that gets added because he's such a big name.
Yeah.
So as you get bigger in the industry, you can start to add those things into your contract.
Scientists have developed the world's first wireless mind control system.
Control mice with the flick of a switch. The mice were engineered with nanoparticle activated switches in their brains and then turning on a magnetic field. They're calling the tech magnetogenic interface for neurodynamics, or nanomind for short.
So what they use is called a viral vector. A viral vector is a virus, adreno-associated viruses. They change the RNA and DNA. That's how they program viruses. Once they get in, they can replicate. They inject this virus. The virus is used to deliver this genetic code, and then it mutates inside your brain. They're called ion channels. And then these ion channels, they stick to these magnetic nanoparticles. And then whenever there's a magnetic field, it kind of pulls a torque on those nanoparticles. And then the brain interprets that torque as activation for neurons. And then if they have multiple nanoparticles in other areas, and then they allow these magnetic fields to activate in certain sequences, certain neuron paths will open in certain patterns. Auditory or visual, your frontal lobe, which then will cause you to do certain activity or feel certain things. And it's done wirelessly. Imagine if all these drones sending electromagnetic pulses through your phone, through your smart glasses, and then they can have an EEG device in there to read the waves, verify that things are being changed, and then sending new pulses to activate more actions.
There are some crazy things happening in the world right now. South Korea is putting traffic lights on the ground for people who look down at their phones all the time, which, dang, honestly, America, let's do it. That's kind of a good idea. I can imagine that in like New York City and San Francisco. Scientists just confirmed that a single lightning bolt stretched 515 miles from Texas to Missouri Missouri back in 2017. That makes it the longest lightning bolt strike ever recorded. Japan just broke the world record for internet speed by hitting 1.02 petabits per second. I don't know how much that is, but apparently it's enough to download all of Netflix in 1 second. The world's oldest baby was born from an embryo frozen in 1994 last month. So technically this newborn baby is over 30 years old. A man in Australia barked at 2 people trying to steal his car in the middle of the night. Netflix used AI for the first time ever in one of its original shows, and they said it was 10 times faster than traditional video effects. Ooh, here we go.
You know what? You got to be real brave, actually, to bark at people that are trying to steal your car at night. That's some real bravery for you.
Neural network is an AI-based defense network that is wrapped around the planet, and it's been here for pretty much forever. So it uses 3 layers of sphere architecture, and is responsible for many paranormal effects, including poltergeist activity. And you can see the type 1B formation right here, and this is the type 2.
Okay, and they're illuminated because
they're powered up. They're ready to go.
They're ready to do what? What exactly does go mean? Fire a directed energy weapon?
Possibly, yeah.
Oh my god. And now it blew up, and it's in outer space, and it's no longer there.
So this was taken over Florida, and again, you can see the type 2 and the type 1B formation right there. So the type 1's here, and the type 2 is taken off a cruise ship. This was over Barcelona. And then here you've got multiple examples of the same thing, all over the world, all different times.
They're always in this formation?
Always in the same formations.
Do you speculate that the United States government, or at least some faction of it, is completely aware of this system?
A friend of mine was in 30 East Drive. He was laying on the sofa. He said there was a big flash. And he opened his eyes and he saw a woman standing looking over him. And she was in uniform. We did a search on the uniform, and it was Space Force.
So what does that mean? Wait, hold on. What does that mean?
I think Space Force is well aware of it, and I think that they probably work in tandem with them. We were filming in this tunnel. Some of the sensors went off. We saw something like a figure. What looks to be like a large grey kind of guy with big teardrop eyes. And he walks up to the strobe, looks down, looks at us, and carries on walking. The problem is because we live on the surface and we produce all these high energy emissions that are going into space, we are announcing where we are exactly to trillions and trillions of solar systems with trillions and trillions of planets. Right. All it takes is one of them to say, "Oh, you have something we want." The odds are against us.
The dark forest theory.
Yeah.
I knew Terrence Crawford was going to win way beforehand because he wasn't battling Canelo. He was battling his mom the whole time. His mom was his biggest hater since he was a kid. He told his mom, "I'm going to be champion one day." She told him he ain't going to be shit. She even tried to tell all the kids in the neighborhood, "Whoever could beat up my son, I'll give you $10. Those kids lined up, and they all got lined up. Crawford beat up all the neighborhood kids. And when the mom was telling this story, she sounded disappointed. The interviewer asked Crawford how did this make him feel. He said it filled him with rage, and that rage never left. There's a reason he's still undefeated. His mom can't wait to give whoever beats him that $10, and he refused to let her give anybody that $10. Who needs enemies when you have parents like this? I mean, look, it worked, he's great, but damn, your own mama doing that? She must have really hated his dad or something. He must look like his dad, something. That is just pure evil. He really has all the motivation in the world. Nothing can stop him. Even Kendrick Lamar compared himself to Terrence Crawford when he was dissing Drake, and we all know that Kendrick keeps taking these W's. He hasn't been wrong. No offense to Canelo, but he didn't stand a chance. He's a great fighter, but he didn't have that same drive that Terrence Crawford had. He really had somebody in his corner hoping that he would lose.
And that's what we tend to see a lot of times. People that deal with some of the biggest struggles and the biggest fights of their life often have some of the biggest rewards on the other side if they manage to make it through, because that didn't seem like an easy feat for him, you know? So huge congratulations to him for making it through.
This is the world's first biological computer. It is brain cells fused with silicon, and we need to talk about it. Cortical Labs has created the CL1, a device where human neurons are cultivated in a kind of broth that acts as the life support system and allows them to grow across a chip and send and receive signals. These neurons exist in what's being described as a simulated world, where you can directly connect to them and deploy code. Basically, programmable organic neural networks born onto a chip that live in a simulation.
My book is becoming a reality.
The idea is that this would work better than current AI hardware because it's organic and therefore infinitely flexible, which, if true, could push AI companies to start building more biological computers. And that raises ethical concerns, especially because brain cells respond to reward and punishment. Are the neurons alive? How many of them does it take to be grouped together to be considered a living brain? This kind of technology, though, isn't new. Neuron clusters have been grown in labs and taught to play computer games and solve puzzles for years. What makes this different is that it'll be commercially available sometime this year for around $35,000.
I don't know, there's just something off about that. You know, just a little creepy, the thought of having a brain inside of my computer. But then again, I guess that's kind of what AI is, right? Let me know what you think, though.
Let me remind you that the mandrill might just be the scariest primate you could ever run into. First off, these bad boys have an 800-pound bite force. That's equivalent to a lion. I didn't know Rafiki and Mufasa were on the same level. Not to mention, they also have 2.5-inch razor-sharp canines. Those are the largest canine teeth of any primate on planet Earth. And that's just the beginning. They also travel in groups of up to 1,300 members, the largest groups of any primate on planet Earth as well. And they're extremely aggressive. They've been known to take out hyenas, African wild dogs, leopards. Even lions won't mess with a group of mandrills. Lion King lied to us. Rafiki's not the good.
Things I wished I never learned, and honestly, you may just want to skip this one. People have had their assholes and intestines sucked out by vacuum toilets like the ones on airplanes and cruise ships. Some tumors grow teeth. All Fruit Loops are the same flavor. The average phone has more bacteria on it than the inside of a toilet bowl, and 1 out of 6 phones has fecal matter on it. The average person secretes 26 gallons of sweat into their mattress every year. Crocodiles can gallop. Dust is majorly made up of dead skin cells, and when you're on a train, 15% of what you're breathing is just dead skin. The little piggy didn't go to the market to go shopping.
So now I gotta just baptize my phone in Lysol? Is that what she's saying? I can't even breathe air without having skin particles. It's a lot going on.
Nobody believed her when she said she couldn't miss, as she is a professional at basketball trick shots. And no one could even get close to her talent. Actually, she could even hit half-court shots while completely blinded. But people quickly started saying she was cheating and that there were even magnets in her balls. So she proved them wrong using a pretty simple strategy.
I'm gonna prove today that there's no magnet by missing the first attempt and then making the second one. All right, here we go. Don't blink. All right, you happy? You got your miss, right?
You almost, no, I'm gonna say, you almost ran low, buddy.
All right, here go the make right here, y'all.
Do you think you could do better?
Let me get this straight. The deepest part of the ocean is 6 miles down. The tallest mountain on Earth is 5 miles up. Altogether, that's only 11 miles. That's about the size of Manhattan. The Earth is 8,000 miles across. If you put your finger on a globe that was actually accurate, you wouldn't even be able to feel the grooves of the mountains.
Can you still leave a fingerprint on evidence if you're wearing latex gloves? I'm a forensic scientist and a former CSI, so let me explain. I got this comment on a recent video. I was talking about the Brian Koberger case in that video and how there was a latex glove that was found in his apartment, but the question is applicable to lots of cases. So the short answer is it is possible to leave a fingerprint with a latex glove on. It's pretty unlikely if you're wearing appropriate gloves. So in forensics, we wore gloves that were thick, generally somewhere between like 4 and 6 millimeters thick. But there are like cheaper gloves that you can get that are thinner. So like food handling gloves, the type of gloves that you would maybe get at like a drugstore or something like that. They're not going to be as high quality. They're not going to be as expensive, but they're going to be thinner. And so it's more likely that you could leave a fingerprint through them. The other thing that affects this is if you're wearing gloves that are too small and so they are stretched, you're more likely to leave a fingerprint. So gloves that you get at like the drugstore, for example, are often just one size fits all, and they're obviously not because everybody has different sized hands, obviously. So if you're wearing like a one size fits all glove, they tend to stretch out and they tend to be kind of thin, and it's more likely that you leave a fingerprint. But if you wear medical grade gloves, or the type of gloves that we use in forensics, that are 4 to 6-ish millimeters thick, and they are small, medium, large, extra large. You just pick the size that's appropriate for the size of your hand. It's not super stretched out. I've worked in forensics for 17 plus years and have never left a fingerprint on a piece of evidence. So
the worst thing you can chase is happiness. Happiness makes you soft. It makes you wait until you feel ready. It makes you quit the second things get hard. If your actions depend on being happy, you'll never be great. The ones who win are the ones who keep going when they're tired, miserable, and broken, and they do it anyway. This is day 14 of the psychology behind success. Your brain was never built for constant happiness. Emotions are signals, not goals. They rise and fall depending on sleep, food, weather, and random thoughts. Tie your work to them, and you're a slave to chance. That's why most people stop. They wait to feel ready. They wait to be motivated. But success isn't built on waiting, it's built on detachment. You don't need to be motivated to hit the gym. You don't need to be happy to build your business. You don't need validation when your first 10 videos flop. You show up anyway. So stop asking how you feel and start asking what you want to build. Anchor your habits in systems, not moods. Decide once, execute daily. Train your brain to see action as default, not as a reward for being in the right mood. Happiness will show up on its own as a side effect of progress. But chasing it directly, that's why most people stay stuck. Success is simple. Separate your actions from your emotions and keep moving no matter what. And if you want to learn how to do that, check out the link in my bio.
Tabernacle. You know I had to leave you with some gems, and those were... Now from the back, he definitely had that kind of posture like, man, I need a break, you know, like he was playing a role. But then as you swing around to the front, look like a completely normal dog. But I've actually never seen a dog sit on steps like that for real. So I don't know. Let me know what you think about it.
More powerful your leg, the better your brain.
It was a twin study. They took a group of 300 sets of twins, female twins, aged 55. And they tracked them over a decade. They were measuring leg power. What they found was that the twin who had greater leg power had better global cognition and better cognitive scores. They did a further study 12 years later, and they took a subset of twins, so a smaller group, and they worked on them, and they worked on leg power over those 12 years. And what they found was that they had greater gray matter volume, as seen on MRI with volumetrics. So what does that mean? Okay, if we just want to cut it all the way down, it means the bigger the leg muscles, the bigger the brain. So there is something to be said of lower body exercises and compound movements, like obviously leg extensions, but squats and deadlifts, and having better brain health outcomes.
And I also have a few videos that show statistics of elderly people that tend to lose their walking ability. Lifespan is shortened by a lot, like by many years. So definitely there has to be something there.
We have an android, a humanoid robot. Looks like they're sorting packages for Amazon. People are so screwed. They already have robots in the Amazon factory. It's just a matter of time. I actually want one of these for doing my laundry. I hate doing laundry. This is crazy. You know, I can imagine that this would be in casinos as well. They're dealing the cards. Won't need a human. You already have automated checkouts. You have automated tolls in a lot of places. They've gotten rid of the people. There used to be people that would sit there and collect money. Now you don't need that anymore. And now for whatever else you have humans, you can start removing them from these extremely boring tasks. And I don't want to sit there and sort widgets all day, do you? But this is the future. This is what's going to happen. Humans really need to think about adding more value to the economy and to the people around them, or they're simply going to be out of work. We talk about universal basic income, but I don't want to bet on the government saving me, do you?
Now, once these AI robots are overall trusted a bit more, definitely a lot of these mainstream jobs are going to go offline for sure. Now, he's thinking the same way I am. I mean, I would hate to have to rely on the government, you know, universal basic income. That would suck. But yeah, let me know what you think.
The universe is too big for us to be the only ones here. Well, just because we can't exist there doesn't mean other life forms can't exist there.
Or other life forms used to exist there. Like imagine if Mars at one point in time had a sustainable atmosphere like millions and millions of years ago. What if there was life on Mars? What if we are the offspring of the life on Mars? What if those guys just realized like, hey, this place is falling apart. Let's shoot over to Earth and reestablish. I mean, that might be why we're so different than every other primate that's here.
And we know so little about everything. It's all possible.
World's first orange shark found in Costa Rica. An orange nurse shark was discovered in the depths of the Costa Rican Caribbean. This is the first completely orange nurse shark ever documented, a coloration never before recorded in this species. The shark was reported by the company Parismena Domus Dei and later analyzed by the Federal University of Rio Grande. It measured approximately 2 meters in length. It was found by people who were sport fishing who realized it was an extremely rare specimen and decided to return it to the sea. The typical color of nurse sharks is brown, which helps them camouflage with the seabed. It is therefore surprising that this orange shark survived to adulthood. As a small, bright orange juvenile, it would have been highly conspicuous to predators. In addition, its eyes were completely white with no visible iris. Because of this combination of unusual coloration and eye characteristics, experts interpret the case as a possible instance of albino xanthochromism. Xanthochromism is characterized by an excess of yellow or orange pigments.
With demonic things, Ouija boards, going to a psychic, tarot cards, or actual occult worship of the devil. Those are pretty much immediate open doors that you're going to have demons come right in.
Psychics are demonic.
Yeah, they're not channeling your dead relatives. So right now we have at least 3 guardian angels in the room. There's also probably demons in this room, and they're listening, and they hear every bit of what we're saying. Excuse me. And when somebody says, well, the psychic told me my mother shared this with me when I was 10, and nobody ever knew that but us. So it has to be my mom, except for the demons in the room who also heard it. And now they're impersonating your mother. If your mother's in heaven, she's having a good day. She doesn't want to come back and visit you, as much as mothers love their children. If she's in purgatory, she needs our prayers to get her moved into heaven. And if she's in hell, there's no getting out. It's not your mother.
Wow.
They can put up a good show, and it's very, they can also place thoughts in our minds, and they can manipulate our emotions. And when you have that trifecta, the person is 100% believes it's their mother.
Interesting.
So here's some information you might want to know. The whole past life reincarnation thing might be more mainstream than we know. The University of Virginia actually has an entire department that studies it. It's called the Division of Perceptual Studies, and they've done a ton of research on children who remember their past lives. And in fact, children remembering their past lives is so common, they have an entire page dedicated to advice to parents of children who are spontaneously recalling past life memories. What? They've studied over 2,500 cases of kids who remember their past life, and they've actually verified that some of these kids who they say they were in a past life actually did exist. Kids who remember their past lives are around the ages of 1 to 4. After that, from 5 to 7, it starts to fade. They also typically talk about the last life they lived, and the average time spent from the death of that previous life to the birth of who they are now is around 15 months. Often their birthmark did signify how they were killed in a past life. So my question is, how long is it until we collectively realize that death is not the end, it's just a doorway?
A doorway to come right back and play the same game over again? There's somewhere in there that you're being coerced, because I know a good majority of people, would probably decline that offer. I mean, if I can go somewhere else or come right back to Earth to play the same game, I don't know. Let me know what you would do.
Scientists just discovered a monster black hole collision. It's the biggest that we've ever seen. 2 black holes of masses 100 and 140 times our sun collided with each other billions of light years away. Meanwhile, here on Earth, 2 different observatories were shining lasers down these concrete tubes 4 kilometers long when they noticed a tiny change in that light. When they analyzed it, they saw that we were feeling ripples in the fabric of the universe called gravitational waves that were caused by those 2 black holes colliding and creating a combined black hole weighing 225 times our sun, which we know about by shooting lasers down concrete tubes. To go inside those tunnels, follow along.
Every video screen that we have on the planet, the most dominant technology that we have today, every video screen on the planet can trace its origins to a sketch that he drew for his high school science teacher in 1922. I learned in its pages that television was invented in San Francisco in 1927 by Philo T. Farnsworth, who produced in San Francisco in 1927 the first totally electronic camera tubes based on an idea that he had had as a teenager 6 years earlier in 1921. And we have that sketch because during patent litigation in the 1930s, the attorneys went out to Salt Lake City and found the teacher that he had drawn that sketch for, and he still had it.
Bro, the last 24 hours have been insane. This was the last moment anyone has seen this 22-year-old YouTuber who was trying to film content at the Duduma waterfall in India. He was washed away by the strong currents and authorities still haven't found him 5 days later. Next, Will Smith is being accused of posting a video of an AI-generated crowd during his Based on a True Story tour in America. Crazy part though is that this wasn't even to mask small crowds. He is objectively performing in front of huge amounts of people. So why his team decided to do this is a bit of a mystery. Next, a city in Japan is proposing guidelines that would see all of its 70,000 citizens only use their phones for 2 hours a day. God forbid a granny doom scroll in peace. The mayor of Toyaki said that it was to prevent excessive use of devices causing physical and mental health issues, including sleep problems. Now luckily, those who go over the 2-hour limit, they're not going to face fines or penalties. Next, Stuart Smith, the wrestler who was attacked by Roger Jackson, is thankfully now awake, conscious, able to talk, and somehow his face doesn't even really look that bad. I mean, the beard's probably covering a lot, and his family say that he still has a long road of recovery ahead. Next, a painting stolen by Nazis over 80 years ago just accidentally surfaced. And guess where? Argentina. Yeah. We know why. And I say accidentally because it was spotted in an ad from a real estate agency, and the house that they were listing allegedly is owned by the daughter of an infamous Nazi. Now, the family of the Jewish art dealer who was originally stolen from is trying to get it back. Next. Oh, and if you do like these news roundups, I post 3 a week on YouTube, and they're up to 30 minutes long. Next. Also, the world is worried for this 11-year-old girl from Gaza who is famous for her cooking videos, because yesterday she posted this unsettling image on Instagram to her 1.5 million followers with just one word saying goodbye. And since no one really knows what this means, people have been panicking in the comment section asking if she's okay, what does goodbye really mean, etc. Next, the US Coast Guard just made their biggest drug bust in history, and authorities say that this was enough to fatally overdose the entire population of Florida. It was worth almost $500 million, and 34 people were detained as a result. Next, and lastly, bro wasn't capping. The man who spent 21 years building a miniature model of New York City has decided to prove all the haters wrong. For the first time, he has laid out his entire model consisting of 1 million handmade buildings. It's 50 foot long, 30 foot wide, which is just over half an NBA court. 21 years well bloody spent. This will probably become the most controversial movie of the year. A Jesus Christ horror movie is about to drop, and the plot is absolutely wild. It's called The Carpenter's Son, and in the teaser trailer we see it's gonna star Nicolas Cage of all people to play Joseph. We got Noah Jupe starring as Jesus and FKA Twigs as Mary. But instead of following his life and ministry like most Jesus movies, this one is gonna be totally different. In fact, they use the phrase a dark reimagining of Jesus. Now, the plot will revolve around him and his family hiding out in Roman Egypt while he is still a child, when one day he starts to discover his inherent powers. I mean, it's sounding like a freaking superhero movie so far. And according to the film's synopsis, quote, as he exercises his own power, the boy and his family become the target of horrors, natural and divine, which also leads Jesus to rebel against his guardian, Joseph. And I'm not gonna lie, Nick Cage cooked. Now, of course, this has led to a lot of backlash online with Christians calling it blasphemous and offensive, while others are saying that this biblical horror is exciting and a fresh take on the genre. Now, it's set to release later this year, but what do you guys think? Is this too far to make a horror movie about Jesus, or fair game?
Now, anything that has to do with religion in the movie theaters is going to do a lot of numbers. But if you're going to flip a story and then turn it into a whole, diabolical type of theme, that might just cause up a whole lot more controversy than need be. I mean, you can tell this is clearly like a shock value play, clearly.
Should I do?
You're 32, 33 now?
32, yeah.
Yeah, you still are fooled by the many, many years you have to live.
Fooled by the many years I have to live.
Yeah, you don't have many years to live, not in this capacity. This world, as it is going to be redefined. So live the F out of it.
How is it going to be redefined?
Everything's going to change. Economics are going to change. Work is going to change. Human connection is going to change.
So what should I do?
Love your girlfriend, spend more time living. Find compassion and connection to more people, be more in nature.
And you know what? That's probably the most sound advice you can get in a world that's moving at the speed of light, literally.
Dozens of dead rats have washed up on a packed beach, forcing stunned tourists to flee. Footage shows carcasses sprawled across the shore, with families abandoning their belongings as the scene unfolds. Local officials say storms pushed waste and rodents into the sea, leaving holidaymakers to drag the remains away themselves. The incident has sparked outrage, with warnings over hygiene and safety at the popular hotspot.
Scientists wanted to see if dogs actually love their owners or if they're just being scammed by them. Is there excitement when they see us because there's true love in their brain, or is it because we constantly feed them? So they took 80 dogs and trained them to be completely still so we could scan their brain while they were awake and see how they think. And they learned a lot. The dogs were given 2 Q-tips to smell, one with a stranger's scent and one with their owner's scent. When they smelt their owners, one specific part of their brain seemed to activate. Now, when you compare that part of the brain to the human brain, it's the same part that activates when we anticipate being with someone we love. But that's not all. They also found that when a dog just makes eye contact with its owner, it causes their bodies to release oxytocin, essentially the love chemical.
So when a person is being deceptive, they'll typically use less pronouns. If I said, Lisa, what did you do last night? You'd probably walk me through, well, I had dinner, I watched a movie, if I checked some emails, washed my face, I got into bed, and I set my alarm clock and I went to sleep. If I ask somebody who's being deceptive, like let's say I asked some guy in an interview room, what did you do Wednesday night? And he says, well, left the office, checked some emails, left the office around 5, went to the liquor store, went home, played video games, went to bed. No pronouns. There's no I, there's no me, none of that. Dr. Pennebaker wrote a book called The Secret Life of Pronouns and how they become absent when somebody's being more deceptive. But the CIA has been teaching this for a while. So you heard the pronouns drop, and that whole conversation, she was fluent, exactly like both of us are speaking right now, that she wasn't struggling for words. Everything just kind of came out naturally. And then he said, tell me about last night. What all happened last night? And she was like, well, then the pronouns went away, and she had what's called a hesitancy and a loss of verbal fluency, where she struggled for words, and because we don't really typically have to do that when it's truthful.
Interesting. The many gems of psychology. This is a reality that we live in. You got to know what's going on.
This chilling footage shows John Lennon reading his fan mail. He reads out this letter from a concerned fan. Take a look.
Dear Mr. Lennon, from information I received while using a Ouija board, I believe that there will be an attempt to assassinate you. The spirit that gave me this information was Brian Epstein.
The fan wrote that he received a message through a Ouija board that there will be an attempt to assassinate him. The fan said that the spirit that gave him this information was Brian Epstein. Brian Epstein was the Beatles' manager who died in 1967. John Lennon was killed on the 8th of December 1980. So, do you think this fan really did receive a message predicting the death of John Lennon? Or was it just pure coincidence? Either way, it still makes the footage very chilling.
But there was just no way for him to really know. You know, you can't take that kind of thing serious. You take it with a grain of salt. And unfortunately, to his detriment.
The idea that we are alone in this vast expanse of the universe, truly. Not that we're being watched, but that we're alone out here is a pretty narcissistic thing to think. So yes, I'm coming out with it. I believe in aliens. Thank you.
You guys remember this movie from 1994 called Blank Check? It was about a kid who got a blank check, wrote $1 million on it, got rich, and blew all the money on a bunch of kid shit because that's what kids do. We got a mansion and go-karts and all this other stuff. I love this movie growing up, but now watching it as an adult, there's something seriously wrong with this movie. So this FBI agent slash much older love interest was investigating him and the whole situation. You guys, there is a scene at the end of the movie where this grown-ass woman kisses an 11-year-old kid in front of other adults, FBI agents at that. Nobody thought this was weird or inappropriate. Nobody caught this. Now, I don't know what the production was thinking or how this even got greenlit, but this isn't the only movie I caught doing this. This movie, Class Act, which came out in 1992, starring musical duo Kid and Play,
Absolutely love this movie. It's one of my favorites. It's about two high school students that actually swap identities, and they have to be successful for each other to get out of high school. One has to pass phys ed, the other one has to get good grades. It's a bunch of colorful characters. You get it. So at first glance, everything's okay. Everybody's the same age, but not so fast. Kid, the lead actor in the movie, this is his love interest, and they actually have a kissing scene at the end of the movie. But what's the problem? They look like the same age. Kid's birthday is 1964. The movie came out in 1992, so that puts him about 28, maybe 27 when they actually filmed the movie. And the love interest, actress Alicia Rogers, was born in 1975. Which means at the time of filming, a 27-year-old was kissing a 16-year-old. We gotta really start looking at these past TV shows and movies because they got away with a lot back in the day. That's just the beginning. I have a whole lot more to show you guys, but let me know if you guys want a part 2 down below.
Now, I've seen both of those movies, and I never looked at it through that lens. Like, he just flipped everything for me. That's wild. That's super wild. Let me know what you think.
Are you missing teeth? Well, no need to worry because the world's first tooth regrowing medicine will be given to humans in September. And yes, I said that correctly, a medicine that will literally regrow your teeth, the bones in your mouth, or in America, as we call them, since we don't have universal health care, luxury bones, as they're often not covered by Medicare or Medicaid. So this is coming out of Kyoto University in Japan. They did successful animal trials not very long ago, regrowing the teeth of a ferret and various other rodents. And here is a video that the university put out that kind of breaks down the science of this process. You can actually see these teeth regrowing. There's just so incredibly much going on in this video. They're very, very specific about it. But what they're going to do is they are going to, if I can find some interesting pictures, they're going to be testing this on men aged 30 to 64 that have lost some teeth. And then in the second phase of the trial, they're going to be trying this on children aged 2 to 7 that have a birth defect or a genetic disorder that prevents them from growing a certain number of teeth. And they're hoping the medicine will help regrow teeth in older men who have lost them just due to consequences of living, and also in children who have lost them because they were born that way. I think it would be downright awesome if there was a medicine that regrows teeth. Now, I do want to clarify, this is a slow and painful process. Your teeth don't just boop back in a few weeks. They have to grow in pretty slowly. It's not supposed to be fun or pleasant.
From the few people I know that have got veneers, they say it's not fun or pleasant either.
We know your body keeps score, but we didn't know where it keeps score until now. Turns out that many men and women store their trauma in that nerve there in my neck called the stellate ganglion, whether it's physical trauma like TBI, or emotional trauma like PTSD, or infectious trauma like in long COVID. Numbing that nerve there, the stellate ganglion, can help relieve many symptoms in many of those people.
The Milgram experiment delved into why ordinary people obey harmful orders. Stanley Milgram's study had participants administer electric shocks to others under an authority figure's instruction. The theory of obedience to authority explains that people often comply due to respect for hierarchy. In the experiment, many participants continued shocking despite the supposed pain of the victims. A real-life parallel is soldiers following orders during war. To resist such harmful obedience, one should question authority and trust their moral compass.
Listen, that lion's eyes were definitely shifting. I felt like I was being watched, and I'm just watching the video. If you didn't catch it, rewind that one back. Let me know if you've seen it too.
Someone wants to be famous. It's like, tell me I have value. Please tell me I have value. Oh God, please tell me I have value. There was a time where fame was an unfortunate side effect of talent. So you were really good at something. So then everybody heard about who you were, and all of a sudden everybody knew who you were. And that was unfortunate because you couldn't go out to eat anymore. You couldn't just live your life anymore. And now being famous is the goal for so many people.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the goal for a lot of unexperienced people that haven't seen enough life. But for all of us that know exactly what's going on with fame, we're not in any rush to be famous. Stop the cap.
A time capsule that was sealed by Princess Diana 34 years ago has been opened. It was placed inside the wall of a London hospital back in 1991, and it had a ton of stuff from the 90s inside of it, including an early pocket TV, a solar-powered calculator, and a Kylie Minogue CD.
Keep going out the okay, look at his ear. Look at his ear.
Okay.
Look, he's gonna look like he's an old man now. Watch, you'll see it. Keep going. Look, bro. Dude, come on, seriously.
Okay, let's do.
No, it gets better. Look at his face. Wait, look. Watch it. There's gonna be a great one at the end here. Watch. Look, bro. Look. Come on, seriously.
You're reaching and you're going out bad.
Jordan did eat a heavy meat-based diet, and he and his trainers figured out, based on his blood work and his performance and all these other sorts of things, that the best diet meal that he could have on game day was a big-ass fatty steak 5 hours before the game. That was his game day meal. He didn't eat anything else.
So our friends over at the CIA decided to give us some more information. Your consciousness can jump through time, meaning gut feelings are memories from the future, scientists say.
If you basically surpass your body's ability to efficiently store fat, you start to accumulate fat in your belly, under your arms. When those sites become overfilled, then you'll start to store fat in parts of your body where you really shouldn't be storing fat, like in your liver or in your pancreas even. Your body just becomes unable to deal with all of the excess energy that's coming in. And so it starts spilling sugar back into the blood. There ceases to be places to store the sugar, to store the fat, and it creates this really awful milieu where your blood sugar stays chronically elevated.
Richard Branson has like a 92 IQ or something. It's like literally just above special needs.
Really?
And he's like, well, it hasn't held me back.
I love that he exposed that, because a lot of people think that these numbers, these IQ tests really mean something. Because a lot of the richest people in the world are not the smartest, for a fact.
I went to urgent care today thinking my appendix ruptured because I couldn't walk. And she told me, Queen, I think you're just constipated. So here we are, drinking something that is going to clean out my entire system.
Before you drink magnesium citrate, you need to know this. Yes, this bottle works. It acts as an osmotic laxative, draws water into your intestines, and it kind of acts like a drain cleaner. But I wouldn't take it in a parking lot.
Yeah, you're not making it home. Forget it. You'll be gripping that steering wheel, sweating, and praying the seat fabric doesn't remember you for eternity, because the first wave is usually cute, a soft little practice run. But that's just the trailer. The next round is a full-blown liquid apocalypse, meaning once that laxative tsunami hits, your colon's surprise baptism begins. And that means you won't be dropping deuces, you'll be opening the Hoover Dam. But if you want more of these gut-saving tips, don't be shy, comment memo, and I'll sneak you into my private weekly memo.
Here's why people complain about technology. Look at this thing. It's math teachers protest the use of calculators. There was also an old ad where people were complaining about cement mixers and how that was going to take away jobs. People would burn printing presses and destroy them because they didn't want books to be automated. This has been going on for a long time. And this idea of hating AI is a legacy of people who are simply afraid of technology. You want to be able to use your computer. You want to be able to use AI. People going crazy because of technology, that's their problem. Let them fall behind. Your job is to take the best that's available to you in the moment and then use that for your own growth, for the growth of your business. Don't let the naysayers get in your head.
This is a moment a fisherman bro happened to capture while fishing. The fish he reeled in had several weird-looking tendrils growing out of its body, which looked pretty bizarre. In reality, what you're seeing is actually a fish that's been parasitized by a sea lamprey. These creatures first appeared back in the dinosaur era, and what makes them stand out is the 7 neatly arranged gill slits on each side of their belly, combined with a suction cup-like mouth. Together, they work like a hydraulic system that lets the lamprey latch onto its prey with insane strength. Unlike most fish, it doesn't have upper and lower jaws. Instead, its mouth is packed with rows of sharp needle-like teeth. Once a lamprey clamps down on another animal, it's basically a life sentence because it won't let go until it's drained every bit of flesh and blood. That's why lampreys are often called vampires of the sea. Even if you pull them out of the water, they can cling tightly to your hand. And it's not just smooth skin. These guys can even stick firmly onto rough stone surfaces without a problem.
Just the sight of those things that give you the creeps right away. We're talking about straight out of the Alien movie. Just, ugh.
The researchers that actually shows the smarter that you are, the less likely you are to be religious. And it's not because religious people are dumb, but because intelligence is tied to how we process new and unfamiliar information. This is a series where I talk about highly intelligent people. For most of human history, religion was an adaptation. It gave people community, structure, and meaning. Believing in a higher power helped tribes survive. But intelligent people are more than likely to question extinction and traditions. Instead of just accepting fate, they look for rational and scientific explanations. The paradox is religion actually makes people a lot happier. Studies shown that religious communities live a lot longer, have a better support system, and are overall happier with life. So when intelligent people denounce religion, it may seem logical, but it can also strip away those social and emotional benefits. So it's not that one group is better than the other, it's just that being intelligent make you question religion a lot more. While faith, on the other hand, often make people feel a lot more richer in the community that it holds.
So I have heard that one of the best ways to beat a polygraph, I don't know if this is true, you clench your butthole, your anus, your anal sphincter. Is that real?
Yep, that's absolutely true. So if you selectively clench your sphincter muscle at the opportune time, so in response to certain questions, you can actually produce patterns of physiological arousal that will be difficult for people to interpret.
That is a hot tip because
Don't call it that.
The reason is you can't tell that I'm doing it.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's great.
So it's invisible. How effective is that method?
It's pretty effective. And so it absolutely can be difficult to not just detect on behalf of the examiner, but it yields patterns that suggest that the person might be telling the truth.
And with that piece of information, it's only a matter of time before lie detector tests are outdated and they won't be used anymore. Because that's crazy.
Somebody I could call right now, and within about 30 minutes, we would probably have all of your passwords that you use for all of your devices in your personal home. Pass me my phone. When you travel, when any business person travels to a hostile country, they're almost always surveilled. Their hotel rooms can be rifled through. There's people called bumbling surveillance or watchers who will usually follow you. I'm not sure what your travel looks like, but I can almost assure you that if you traveled to Russia, if you traveled to China, if you traveled to Cuba, you had a watcher, you had a surveillance team.
Really?
That was watching you.
Me?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you're wealthy, you're successful, you're an influencer, you're of significance. At the very least, they want to make sure that some petty criminal doesn't hurt you in their country, because that could be a big deal.
Thank you.
But
please continue to surveil me.
But at worst, they could also be scraping your cell phone to pull all of your contacts off the cell phone so that they could then reach out to any of the contacts that you have on your cell phone. They could scan and duplicate your hard drive as you go through secondary or go through immigration in a foreign country.
They can scan my hard drive as I go through immigration?
Absolutely. We can do that here in the United States too.
What, so if I land in the United States, how would they do that?
There's different authorities that exist for different agencies. So here inside the United States, one of the authorities that we give to our Border Patrol is the authority to essentially scrape data off of all of your electronic devices. So if you're deemed a target of interest, and if you're moved into what's known as a secondary screening, they will separate you from your bags. They'll actually open your bags. They might even tell you to unlock your cell phone or unlock your laptop. And then from there, with technology that's proprietary and technology that's also commercially available, they can scrape and scan your hard drive. There's a good chance that it was cloned.
But I didn't give them my password.
Sometimes they don't need your password.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I have somebody I could call right now, and within about 30 minutes, we would probably have all of your passwords that you use for all of your devices in your personal home.
That's the end of the podcast, Andrew. Good luck with the book.
Pass me my phone.
Well, I guess it's just no better time than now to be on the right side of the law, because they can find out pretty much anything according to what he just said, which is pretty wild.
Have privacy.
It's not real.
Privacy's not real.
No.
You can get on their phone. You can get into their computer. You can get into their private Google accounts. You can get into their private Apple accounts.
For the federal government and for the intelligence community, there's absolutely zero interest in the average person.
The person who's cheating on their spouse or avoiding $5,000 in taxes or who isn't paying their parking bills. Nobody cares. The federal government doesn't care about that.
I worked on a number of cases where I had to get FISA requests. When you want to collect information or take information from somebody who is an American citizen. Most people complain about, oh, they're targeting American citizens. They're looking at themselves in the mirror and thinking, oh, they're targeting American citizens. They're not thinking about the Chinese person who just came over and naturalized. They're not thinking about the, Iranian who's been here for a long time and naturalized.
The Al-Qaeda member who claimed to be a refugee to get here to get some sort of green card.
Some of those people are doing bad things, and some of those people are our adversaries who have infiltrated the United States and are here to gather intelligence. And so we have to get FISA requests to get the data on them.
Does that mean that you can go into their phone?
You have proven a link. You've given the court enough evidence to say, hey, look, this person's doing something bad and we need to gather more data on them. So it just opens the kind of data that you can get on that person.
And what kind of data is that?
You can get on their phone. You can get into their computer. You can get into their private Google accounts. You can get into their private Apple accounts.
Any kind of data you can get access to. You can now use it to target them.
And Google would give you the password.
For most cases, if it comes down to national security, American companies will share details. And that's what a FISA request does, is it's a judicial claim. It's a judicial warrant, essentially, to say you will let this service onto that person's account. You're conditioned to believe that you have privacy.
Most people believe that they have a level of privacy that doesn't really exist. I also think that most people don't realize how many threats are around the corner, and that when they think about abuse of power, they're thinking about themselves and their families and their friends. Oh, law-abiding citizens are having their information hacked. That's not the case. I think the American government does a pretty good job of ensuring that evidence is built up to make sure that innocent people aren't being targeted. We're mission focused on protecting the United States of America and its citizens and our national security. And that is a small pool of people that we are really actually looking at, a small pool of dangerous people.
So the reality that we should realize is that we don't have privacy.
It's not real.
Privacy is not real.
No. People put too much confidence in technology and feel too confident in the privacy of technology. There's really nothing private about it. To an extent, yes. But if you think that nobody can ever look at your stuff, that's wrong.
There goes a lot of confirmation to what I already kind of knew. I mean, we definitely don't have any kind of privacy. And if you still think we have privacy in any of your applications or anything like that, you definitely got to wake up quickly.
So scientists just used AI to reverse aging in human cells, and they achieved a 50x better efficiency than the original Nobel Prize winning method. OpenAI partnered with a longevity startup called RetroBio to redesign the Yamanaka factors. These are 4 proteins discovered in 2012 that can reprogram adult cells back to youthful stem cells. The original process rarely works, however. Less than 0.1% of cells convert, and it takes weeks. So the OpenAI team built a model called GPT-4b Micro, and it was trained exclusively on biological data. Unlike traditional methods that test just a few mutations, this AI redesigned entire proteins with hundreds of changes simultaneously. And the results were extraordinary. Over 30% of the AI's protein designs outperformed the originals, compared to the typical success rates below 10%. And the best versions showed 50-fold increases in stem cell markers and dramatically enhanced DNA damage repair. The enhanced proteins consistently reverse key signatures of cellular aging, suggesting they could become powerful tools for regenerative medicine. All in all, this breakthrough demonstrates how specialized AI models could compress decades of biological research into just weeks, which could potentially revolutionize our approach to aging and disease one day.
A lot of people are upset. ChatGPT can now call the police on you. You heard that right. Your favorite AI pal ChatGPT can turn you into the police. Just like that. OpenAI admitted they're scanning all conversations with ChatGPT for harmful content. Not many people know that if you are deemed as a threat, OpenAI is going to take your chat logs and have an OpenAI employee review those logs. If they deem you are certainly a threat, they're going to turn those logs over to law enforcement. But there's something you need to consider. If you talk about harming yourself, they will not forward that to law enforcement. However, if they deem you are a threat to others, they will send that in to law enforcement enforcement just like that. So in other words, your safety remains private with ChatGPT, but other people's safety, not so private. You could get a knock at the door. Do you think ChatGPT is protecting society with this, or do you think ChatGPT is becoming Big Brother's favorite informant? Let me know in the comments section. I, for one, have a perfect track record. Thanks, ChatGPT, for not calling the police on me.
This is definitely one of those gray areas. I mean, if you're dumb enough to put your information on social media, let alone ChatGPT, you probably deserve to be caught. I mean, I'm just saying.
What makes great relationships great is not that you get along all the time. The best marriages, the best relationships, they're not absent of conflict. It's they know how to resolve conflict peacefully.
So in essence, don't let any of those Instagram relationships fool you, because there's always going to be peaks and valleys, highs and lows. It kind of is what it is. But it's always going to be about how you deal with it.
You've probably eaten some of these foods that technically aren't legally food. Like how Subway's tuna salad got exposed for having zero tuna in it at all. Their bread contained so much sugar it couldn't be classified as bread anymore. And their chicken only contained 42% actual chicken. The Walmart product 100% grated Parmesan cheese got sued for not being 100% because it was actually 8% wood pulp. It's supposed to be something that stops it all from sticking together, but it's wood. They legally aren't allowed to call Pringles potato chips because technically they're only 42% potato. So they have to call them potato crisps instead. The reason Fruit Loops is spelled with 2 O's isn't because they're trying to be cute. It's because there's 0% actual fruit in them. Oh, and while we're ruining things, all the colors are the same flavor. Mrs. Butterworth's syrup actually contains no real maple syrup at all. And the only reason it's allowed to say this on the front of the bottle is because it's referring to high fructose corn syrup. While 99% of all wasabis in the world is fake. It's always just horseradish, mustard, and green food coloring because the real stuff that looks like this is so rare it would cost $20 per serving.
All the real food definitely disappeared before Y2K. Just before the 2000s, that's when it all just dropped off a cliff. Capitalism came and just switched it all up. So now if you eat this food today, you just might turn into an NPC if you aren't one already.
100 piles of cremated human ashes have been found scattered in the Nevada desert. This is creepy. This is happening just south of Las Vegas, and federal officials are saying the remains were dumped on Bureau of Land Management's land, along with urn fragments and even zip ties. Scattering ashes privately is legal here, but investigators are saying this wasn't a family memorial. It looks like a mass dumping, and that points to something much darker. A lot of people are speculating this could just be a funeral home doing fraud and just trying to cut costs. But location is important here, and it does spark some theories. In Las Vegas, it's not impossible to think mafia. Remember when Lake Mead receded and mob-style victims randomly started to appear? That discovery kind of reignited the theories that Las Vegas used to be a mafia graveyard, or still is. We have no idea what this is. Some people are saying it's the cartel. Some people are saying it's the mafia. Some are saying this is a funeral fraud because it's been exposed once or twice in Nevada and Colorado already. But we need answers because 100 remains of human ashes in piles in the desert is absolutely insane.
Everyone is convinced that something bad may have happened to Donald Trump, considering he has not been seen in public for the past few days. Just hours ago, the White House updated their website so that it displays this message, and quite literally rumors are spreading everywhere online that something bad may have happened to him, or that Trump may have allegedly even passed away. Users have also noticed that pizza orders in the Pentagon have gone way up, which historically only happens when huge political events are about to take place. And the weirdest thing is that a couple days ago during an interview, JD Vance said that he would be prepared to take place as President of the United States in case something happened to Trump. So right now it's unclear of what's exactly going on in the White House, but considering Trump has not been doing well lately, things are not looking too good.
Just be calm when things are going well. Be calm. Don't think you're on top of the world in the sense. You always got to be wary because I've seen it. I've seen people come. I've seen people go. I've seen them come. I've seen them go. You got to be chill. You got to just take what's good in your life and move forward cautiously and carefully. And thank God that you have that, not to overextend yourself when you think you got it. There's no such thing.
Man, I've studied all the patterns in life, and what he's saying is absolutely true. You want to stay even keel, in the good times and the bad times. Neither one of them last. So, it's kind of better for your sanity if you stay even keel anyways.
Other study that showed they took 150 women and they asked them the attractiveness of a certain man, and then they showed the same man and told the women that the man was taken and had a wedding ring on, and his attractiveness level went from 59% to 90. 90% of the women thought he was attractive when they knew he was taken. They did the same study in 2012 with men. When men saw that the woman was taken, she was less attractive.
The one Rothschild dude had 8 heart transplants. Where do you think he's getting them hearts from?
He had 8.
He had 8 heart transplants before he died.
So someone, David Rockefeller as well, I think had like 3 or 4.
Come on, man.
Like 3 or 4.
The wait list is supposed to be years.
And your priority is supposed to be low when you're gasting past 90.
For sure. For sure.
Because there's younger people who probably would have a longer life. But
cats actually love their humans? Well, scientists found out about them too. Now, unlike the dog study, cats couldn't be trained to sit still in an MRI machine, allowing them to track brain signals, so some other tests were run. The first one found out that cats recognize their own names, they just ignore you because they don't care. Then they ran the secure base test, which is essentially a test used on babies and dogs to see how attached they are to a caregiver. So to all the people who commented on the dog video asking if cats are the same, the answer is not exactly. Around 65% of the cats tested seemed to love their owner. The rest gave signs they just didn't really care.
Cats are funny like that. They all seem to have that independent personality. I don't know if it's just me. Let me know what you think.
You said my baby was ugly?
No, man, what I said was she looked like you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you ugly though.
You know, when somebody says, he really pushes my buttons, that means somebody else has complete control over you. Somebody can say something and you just get all mad. You have an uncontrollable, irrational emotion. You're not that powerful then. You're like a puppet on a string. What causes that? It's a holographic memory of something where there's emotion encapsulated into it. And it lies dormant in your memory. And when something triggers it, it gets re-stimulated. It comes to surface. And then you have no control. You have an uncontrollable emotion. But there is a technical way that we teach how to go into the mind, find that energetic imprint, and blow the charge, virtually dissipate the energy. If you have those in your field, it is preventing you from manifesting your goals, dreams, and desires, and really being at cause over your environment today.
Now, he told the whole truth. When somebody can make you angry, they got control over you, and you don't even know it yet. So that's a fact. It's always easier said than done, but you definitely don't want to let anybody have that kind of control over you.
A study published in Psychological Science, psychologist Kathleen Vose found that people with messy beds are 50% more creative than those with tidy beds. Frequent latecomers have 70% more humor than punctual individuals. Big eaters possess 90% higher emotional intelligence than light eaters. Scatterbrains are more detached from fame and fortune. And sleep-in lovers exhibit greater empathy. Got it. You're actually pretty awesome too.
When I died, I came back, my belief systems were erased. There was no religion on the other side. There was no gender. There was no thingness. There was no, here's the Baptists and there are the Catholics and over here are the Muslims, and none of that. It was all just oneness. And so when I came back, I'm not a believer. I'm not a believer. Which is one of the reasons why several of my dearest friends are atheists, because I don't really care. I don't care whether they believe it, they don't believe. It doesn't matter to me, because they're going to find out when they die, just like everybody else, just like I did.
That I was a life path 7, and for me that means that I like to learn, find out the answers, get wisdom, and then share it with people, which is why I was able to do that in music and in books. If I'm sitting somewhere tonight with one of my friends and they ask me a question, or one of my colleagues, I can tell them what I learned at this table today.
What if your body knows already how to reverse aging?
It does. Your body isn't confused, it's responding. Every cell carries a blueprint for renewal, but that code only activates when your signal tells it to. When you say, my cells follow the intelligence of my higher design, you're not making something up, you're waking something up.
Your mirror becomes the proof. Watch part 4.
What's the best comeback if somebody says you're weird? Quote Albert Einstein. He said, the thing about smart people is they seem weird to dumb people. That'll shut them up.
Are you ready to test your intuition? This is an intuitive exercise. Behind this card, there is a fruit. What I want you to do is open up to all your senses and trust what you receive. So we're going to do a short breathing exercise, and this is to expand your awareness out. So close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Exhale. Okay, now open up your eyes and trust what you receive. You ready? It is a pineapple. Were you able to get the color? Did you get the fruit? Let me know how you got your answer.
Now, I'd be lying if I said I thought it was a pineapple. There's no way in the world I thought it was a pineapple. I thought it might have been a peach. But let me know what you got. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books, man. Hey, I appreciate you guys for stopping by it again and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button. If you're not already a part of the iTrack fam, smash that hype button. It helps me out a whole lot. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.